So I've got a load for this 308. This is the 308 that I was playing with earlier in the year. And I've got a load here, which is 168 grain Sierra Match Kings loaded with 42.5 grains of reloader 15 for an average of 2549 feet per second. And what we've got is a 20 shot group here that 3 flyers make it an 1.5 inch group, but the other 17 go into a 0.76 inch hole. And so these 3 flyers, I can literally attribute that to errors in my hand loading, bullet variability. Like, there's just so much variability there that this is absolutely my go-to load from now on. My velocity requirements for the 308 are to be over 2,500 feet per second. So from here, I already had this load, but I've got about half a box of Hornady 168 ELD match, and I've got 3.5 boxes of Spear 168 grain Target hollow point boat tails. And so what I wanted to do was try to hunt down at least a load that's serviceable, so that way I've got a little bit of bullet options, because sometimes Sierras are not on the shelf. Sometimes you'll get an incredible deal on these Spear bullets, which is what I did. I think I picked these up for like $15 a box from Midway, and the Sierras are literally $56 a box for 100 of Sierra 168 grain hollow point bow tails. So we've got a target out there at 100 yards. If I get, I'm going to be recording velocities in my book and just shooting through these as quickly as I can. I'm going to shoot 2 10-shot strings as quickly as I can plow through them. Here we go. We'll go as quickly as we can. We're starting on a clean, cold bore, so I do expect one weird first fouling shot. An error on the chronograph. 2637. 2612. 2623. 2643. 28. 'Highest velocity yet, I think. Yep, 2649. And after I clean a barrel, I've never paid a ton to note, but it seems like there's times when my velocity climbs for a minute after a clean bore. There's my lowest velocity. Shoot that theory in the ass. $26.55. Okay. All that brass looks excellent. Perhaps a little bit of primer flattening. No cratering whatsoever. We're going to go ahead and move to the Hornady. This is the Spear hollow point boat tail, which I didn't measure. It's not an acceptable group for me. This is just 10 shots. And it looked like it was trying to do something here, because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we had 4 shots into one hole right here. It was really trying to do something, but it just doesn't have the consistency there, and so I'd really have to play with it, which I'm willing to do. I've got powder, I've got those bullets. Those bullets are going to get shot one way or another, whether it's trying to develop a load that never pans out, or I'll find a load and have something to do with them. So, and I like these bullets for what they are because they're very short. The bearing surface is short, they have a really aggressive ogive, and so what I can do is I can seat these really far away from the lands and still have that seating depth that I really like, because I'm more interested in seating depth in the case. I've found that pretty much every load that I've developed, all the loads that I've got up on the wall that I'm really proud of how they group, I did that with a focus on seating depth inside the case, trying to get the corner of that boat tail right at the shoulder neck junction corner, more than I did trying to find a harmonic tuned spot from the lands. Like, I start there and then make little adjustments until I find something that really, really works. So that being said, for that group that looked like it was trying to do something, we got, and I don't know if it was the chronograph acting up or if it was something else, but these things shot incredibly fast compared to Sierra bullets. We had an average of over 2,600 feet per second. We've got 2612 as our lowest velocity, and 2655 was our highest velocity with those. 2643. 40. 2648. 2615. 20 shots is a pretty long string. 2670. That one makes sense. I let a shell sit in a hot chamber for a minute. 2644. 2694. Okay, that test is done. We're going to move on to the 6mm while we've got daylight and get as much done as I can. And then the Hornadys, these, even if you got a bad load, they shoot this good, but I can't really seem to just make them shoot through one hole, and I think I've got other issues going on that I need to just different powders, play with seating depths a little more. Hornady's recommended seating depth is 2.800. I decided my optimum is 2.790, but I might try coming out to their recommended depth and maybe coming out another 10,000s past there, coming in 20,000s, just playing with it, because this is a really good load. It's not super close to max, but it's yielding some really high velocity. I've got like 8 pounds of Reloader 15 left, so I'd really like to make some adjustments and play with this. This isn't a terrible looking group. We've got 4 flyers down low here, but we've got 6 in a ragged hole here that's about 1 inch wide, and it's looking like just a little bit of tuning might be able to solve this here. I'm not as interested in getting this working as I am in the Spears, because the Spears are dirt cheap and I have a bunch of them. But the velocities with the Hornady ELD match were even more off the wall. We had a lowest velocity of 2615, and we had a high velocity of 2708 for an average of about 2660. We're gonna warm this thing up pretty quickly here. $27.33. Chronograph seems to still be working, so 27:17. Whoa, buddy. No pressure signs. I think that's a bad reading. Error. 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 2561. That is right in the wheelhouse. That's more like it. So that group's under an inch, 28.2 grains, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that means that group is under an inch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looking good. All right, that's what I wanted to know. Let's pack her up and get out of here. So I'm going to try a little different format today, just because I think there's a little more to be had here from having a conversation without me shaking the phone, which is my camera, all over the place. So I went ahead and did my hunting max charges with the 58 grain VMAX, the 75 grain Spear hollow point flat base, and I only had 5 of the 87 grain VMAX left, so I went ahead and shot 5 of them and did find a max here. So what we got was, with the 58 grain VMAX, we got a pretty good group, 28.0 grains. I didn't measure the group because I'm not that interested in it, and I didn't get any velocity readings. I was really having problems with my chronograph yesterday. At 28.2 grains, we got 3,029 average feet per second, and for a 0.71 inch group. So I'm really looking to come back to this and see if it'll reproduce, you know, an inch or inch and a half group for 10 or 20, and that would be absolutely premium. I'd be really happy with that. An inch or an inch and a half for a 20 shot group is pretty much right in the wheelhouse for what I'm looking for. The max charge that I found was 3,079 average feet per second, and we got a 1.05 inch group. I drew a circle around these 87 grain VMAX. I'm not sure if you can see it because this isn't particularly high contrast paper, but what we had is 2 into 1 hole here and then 3 down here. So not an incredible group, but incredible velocity for an 18-inch barrel, and I think that's really in the wheelhouse for a max. We'll go over brass after this because I really did have some pressure signs to speak of, you know, to talk about. So the 3rd and 4th row here, you can definitely see pressure signs. See a little bit of pressure signs in the 2nd row. Can see pressure signs on the last row. Nothing serious though, looking good. Not bad, not stop worthy pressure signs, but definitely the kind of pressure signs where you go, yep, I found max. There it is right there. That's what I was looking for. Didn't overdo it, but found max. And for the 75 grain hollow point flat base, we got 2752 average feet per second here, which that's more in the wheelhouse of what I'm looking for. I really want the 75s to be over 2700, and I really want the 58s to be around, if not over 3000. And the max charge for the 75 grain flat base hollow points was 2830 feet per second, but for a 2.5 inch group, the wheels just really fell off of that one. And then the 87 grain VMAX, I got 2 really funky chronograph readings and 3 errors. The one reading that looks a little more like I trust it was 2542, and that's for 24.7 grains of X Terminator. And all these are at 2.260 for magazine length. The wheels fell off, but the wheels don't fall off with the 87 grainers at higher charge weights with other stuff, like with the Winchester 748. We were getting some pretty good groups out of this.